The sun dipped low over the endless plains, painting the horizon in hues of blood and gold. In front of a weather-worn cabin stood three figures caught in a moment that would alter their fates. Clara May had once believed her marriage to William Carter, a frontiersman hardened by years of hunting and bartering, would keep her safe from the wild cruelties of the West. But in the harsh silence of their childless nights, William's patience with her womb's emptiness had curdled into resentment. To him, she was no longer a partner, no longer the tender girl he had courted with laughter and promises. She was a reminder of failure, his family name would end with him. And now, Clara stood at the center of an unthinkable bargain. William's weather-beaten hand stretched toward a Lakota man of striking bearing. Tall, with hair as black as midnight cascading over his shoulders, the stranger carried himself with the quiet strength of a chief. His clothes bore the dust of the plains, but his leather vest and beaded necklace whispered of status. At his hip, he carried a blade carved from bone and obsidian, and in his dark eyes burned a fire that Clara could not name. In his other hand, the Lakota man held a pouch of buffalo meat, precious food in a season of scarcity. "This is fair," William growled, his voice flat. "She can't give me children. She can't give me a future. What good is a wife who can't bear sons? You'll feed me through winter, and in return, you take her." Clara's breath caught. Shame and disbelief crashed through her like a storm. Her husband hadn't even asked her, hadn't even spoken a word of comfort or apology. She lowered her eyes to hide the tears threatening to spill. The Lakota man studied William, then turned his gaze on Clara. She flinched, expecting to see contempt, but instead, she found something far more unsettling: respect. He extended his hand, palm open, as though inviting her to step into his world by choice, not by chains. "My name is Wakasa," he said softly, his English touched with the cadence of his people. "I do not trade for women as men trade for cattle. But I see her spirit, and it is strong. If she comes because she chooses. Not because you cast her away." Clara's heart thundered. No man had ever spoken of her will before. Not even William. William's face flushed crimson. "Take her, or leave her, Indian. I don't give a damn. Just hand me the meat." Wakasa's lips curved into a faint smile, but his eyes held steel. "The buffalo is sacred. I would not give its flesh for a man's cruelty. But for her, I would give everything." He let the pouch of meat drop to the dust, unimportant now, and extended his other hand to Clara again. Clara's chest heaved. Her husband's betrayal still rang in her ears, but here stood a man offering her dignity when her own blood had stripped it away. Slowly, trembling, she lifted her gaze to William. His expression was one of cold dismissal. He had already chosen his meat over her. And in that moment, Clara chose herself. She stepped forward, placing her hand in Wakasa's. His grip was firm, steady, like the earth itself had decided to hold her upright. That night, Clara rode with Wakasa across the moonlit plains, leaving behind the cabin that had been her prison. The wind tangled her hair, and for the first time in years, she felt the taste of freedom on her lips. Wakasa led her to his people, a Lakota camp nestled by the bend of a river where horses grazed like shadows. At first, Clara feared rejection, feared she would always be an outsider. But Wakasa introduced her not as a trade, not as a captive, but as a woman under his protection. "She is brave," he told the others. "Her spirit is not barren. It is vast as the plains, waiting to be honored." The Lakota women welcomed her with gentle hands, wrapping her in soft hides and braiding her hair. The children laughed as they tugged at her skirts, unafraid. For the first time, Clara felt warmth that came not from duty, but from belonging. As the days passed, she learned their ways. She learned to grind corn, to stitch hides, to ride with the wind on Lakota ponies that seemed born of lightning. Wakasa taught her their songs, songs that rose to the stars like prayers, songs that healed wounds deeper than flesh. In his presence, Clara discovered something she had never known before, desire not born of obligation, but of reverence. Wakasa did not touch her without seeking her eyes first, did not speak of children as if they were her only worth. He spoke of her mind, her courage, her laughter. And under the endless sweep of the sky, Clara began to bloom. Months passed, and word of her reached William. Hungry, embittered, and alone, he returned to the Lakota camp one bitter dawn. His eyes blazed with rage as he saw Clara standing by Wakasa's side, her blue dress now adorned with beadwork, her face alight with strength. "You belong to me." William spat, pointing a shaking hand. "You're my wife. You think you can leave me for some horse-lord savage?" Clara stepped forward before Wakasa could move. Her voice trembled, but it was steel underneath. "I was never yours to trade," she said. "Not for buffalo meat. Not for anything. You threw me away, William. And she reached for Wakasa's hand, he gave me everything." William lunged, but Wakasa's warriors rose like a wall of stone. Spears and bows glinted in the morning light. Outnumbered, humiliated, William staggered back, his fury shriveling into desperation. He turned and vanished into the horizon, swallowed by the same wilderness that had hardened his heart. Clara watched him go, not with regret, but with release. Years later, she stood outside a new home, a lodge of buffalo hide, laughter ringing inside. Though her womb never bore children, she became mother to many. Wakasa's nieces and nephews raced to her arms, calling her Ina. His people called her, the woman with the strong heart. And each night, when the stars burned like diamonds above the prairie, Wakasa would take her hand, press it to his chest, and whisper, "You are not barren. You are my life. And in you, I have all." Clara smiled, knowing the truth at last. She had been traded once for meat, but with the Lakota horse lord, she had found what was priceless, love, honor, and a home carved from the wide, wild heart of the plains.